Great to see you again, folks. Now let me teach you a thing or two about modern CTON right ahead of the tournament that's about to start this weekend. We're going to use this game of yesterday night as an example. Now let's assess our starting situation. We're playing Egypt, we went for equality, we have no resources at all, and we're on a landmass with China and Tigerland. That's Lothar and Warbud. We don't see Warbud's land yet at all, but as you can see from the diplomacy window, we've already found one of his units, so he is pretty close by. This is turn 5, and we see China, alright, they might not have any res either, but they have also great food, so we're not going to be able to outdraft them or anything. So what is the logical play right here to go for? Well, let's assess the situation from an honest point of view. Look at the top right corner, look at the player in this lobby. Now, if we're feeling generous, there's 1 or 2 players that are worse at modern than us in this lobby. Probably on a good day, Warbud and Lothar both outperform me. So the ideal play is to take one of these guys out so that I at least don't finish last. Now we don't see Warbud at all, but we've already committed for Lothar. We're scouting his land with the Explorer, and well, we're just praying that Warbud doesn't take us out before we kill Lothar. Now, the beginner memer might get tempted into planting a canal city in the top left near that game jungle where the oasis is at, but we're not going to do that since we have a very strict schedule to meet. So what we did instead is go wartime immediately. We don't need a granary in the second city because it's not going to get up to drafting size anyways before we want to get our kill. So we're just making wartime partisan there. We're going to switch to troopship in 3 turns when our cargo tech completes. Now from capital, we're going to need a settler in order to get onto Lothar because it seems he isn't really all that coastal. Let's look at the next save, 5 turns later. There you guys go. Now, we've grown to size 5 in capital, but we've also made that settler already. We're not dropping it anywhere yet though, because remember, this has to be a surprise in order for it to work. We can see, since we made the settler, Lothar is now already 2 population ahead of us. He's size 7, so he's gonna start drafting now. We finally discovered Warbud in the north, but he's just gonna be a spectator for now. We don't care about him. He probably has some rest to roll us with anyways, so don't even worry about it. It turns out we actually had rubber on that one forest tile that we hadn't explored yet, but at this point we're already committed to the play. Frankly, our worker moves don't even matter. We're just making military units, regular ones at this point, and we've got that troop shit out from Alexandra. We ended up pop rushing it because we gotta go fast. Turn 10, Lothar has just now started to draft. Now here is where tragedy strikes. The most dangerous out of all the 3 players on this continent, including me, is getting involved. The Barbs. The obvious play is the canal city near the Wheat at the inland lake north of Lothar's capital. However, the barbarians have spawned so close that we can't just drop our settler on over there. And in the next save it's going to become evident why that is a problem. So, look at this one. We've now got our troop shit loaded up with a settler and a militia in it. We can't airdrop south of that barb camp, otherwise they're just going to take us out. We could airdrop on the Wheat, but frankly, I was too greedy for that. I didn't want to plant on the bonus food. So instead we're going to have to ship our settler over, and that's going to be an immense problem, because that means we can't put extra unit into the boat that we want to use this turn, or next turn for that matter. We can't wait for next turn and get more military in. We have to go this turn. And that makes it so we have way less military units. But again, we are already committed. No takebacks is at that point. Lothar, he might know what's coming. But has he prepared? Let's check it out. Now for the following turn, I have the video evidence to see how things exactly played out. We're going to boat over there, plant that city, and get our 1 militia on top. Sadly, since the barbarians sit right on our high production tile, we're not going to be able to get that airport up immediately. But again, we don't need that. The point is not to get units into that city. The point is to get units onto his capital. So let's roll the clip. Let's see how things go for us here. So we've planted that city. Lothar is now probably confused. He's reacting. Oh my god, every time next to Hadrada. What's going on? He's moving in with the partisan. So at this point, he could have drafted, I don't know, to count the turns, guys. He could have drafted like 3 turns. By this point, I don't really. Numbers, not my strong suit. Doesn't matter. And as you can see, we've got 2 military units at home that we can't use just because we had to inconveniently move the boat on over. But it doesn't matter. We still have 2 military in there. That's as good as anything. We could take the unit from in the city with us, but that's a beginner mistake. If we took the unit from in the city, he knows that we're gonna move in on his cap and he's gonna get defensive. We don't want him to get defensive. He's intent on taking out Giza before we can get that airport up. Let's see if he's gonna be able to do it. In the meantime, we're just gonna boat onto his cap. He just drafted again. And here's the big surprise. He moves in with a second draft unit. At this point, it's free for the taking. You can see cap empty. At this point, doesn't matter anymore. Now he's unaware. He still thinks he'll take out that city. Mate, you've left the back door open. What's happening? He still hasn't realized. Oh boy, that's going to be a close fight at Giza. He's about to attack into it. What's going on there, guys? Lothar, watch out behind you. Now at this point, he feels that short, sweet moment of pride for taking out that city. But then notices the cap is gone. And it's the classic all over again, isn't it? We've got it on lock. Now at this point, the game's over. We're in a pretty shitty spot. We haven't expanded at all. We've had our settler sit in cap, not doing anything for a couple of turns just to be able to meme Lothar. But this is... I want you guys not to get tempted into this pseudo-realistic analysis. That's what Hoffman, Swade, Cheese, they would tell you. You've got to keep on expanding. You can't idle your units. This isn't Age of Empires, guys. You can very well idle your stuff if it's worth it. And the fatal mistake they make in their thinking is, if you just expand, get resources, big cities, I don't know, factories or whatever they tend to build, you can actually kill the enemies afterwards. But guys, you gotta be honest. You can't kill the enemies anyways. Look at me. I'm not gonna kill Saucerson or Swade or Hoffman in this lobby. I am gonna kill Lothar or Warbot though, or anybody who doesn't know what I'm going for when they spawn right next to me. So that's what I gotta commit for. We are operating on different playing fields here. So I hope this guide was at all useful for you. In case you wonder, the next play was to plant that canal city in the northwest near the game and try to get a landing through onto Warbot. He was just well enough prepared for it though, and then ended up dying next. But that's irrelevant. We got the playoff, we tilted somebody out of the game, we've got third from last place, which is a win in my books. Again, that's the best we could have hoped for. Two players realistically only finishing below us here. So tell me, anything to optimize here? Probably to plant that city on the wheat. But it's the spirit, it's the mindset that counts. And I want to see that from players in the modern CTON tournament. I want to see honest gameplay. Be honest with yourselves. What are your limits? What can you go for? And even better, in the modern CTON tournament, nobody's going to know your name. So they don't even know whether or not you're a good player or a memer when they spawn next to you. So you can do this shit all day. They're not even going to be aware. Enjoy.